Let's do this.
On the day I was born, and it's all that was around, and they gazed a while wonder at the joy they had found. The nurse spoke up, said, "Leave this one alone." She could tell right away that I was bad of the bone, bad of the bone.
Hello, brothers and sisters, and thank you for joining me on this time travel adventure. Also, thank you very much for all of your positive response on my first 2 trailers. There's more to come. I'm sure many of you, like myself, are wondering what it is exactly I'm trying to do with this channel and my videos and the show ELSiNORE Brothers. Well, let me try to explain. First and foremost, the channel is about me, my own madness and imagination. The ELSiNORE Brothers show is about the best decade of my young life. This being the best decade of my old life, my life now. Anyway, you get it. And while the bulk of my videos will be about me and my life and experiences, the ELSiNORE Brothers and Sisters show will be about 1970s and 80s Southern California, and most especially about Elsinore and all of us. Now, before I go any further, I would like to urge all of you watching to please contact me with your stories, your photographs, your home movies, videos, audio tapes, memorabilia, anything that you have really pertaining to Elsinore and Southern California in those days. Tell us about your favorite 80s music or concert, your best ditch day, your best friend, your favorite teacher, or the best family you knew in town. Tell us about anything. Every story is wanted. On that note, this is not a place for old grudges, nor is it a place for politics, religion, or status. This is a place for returning to the 1980s, the good times, the good years, the good people. Now, before we take off, be sure to stay tuned until the end of the episode to find out about some exciting fun that we can all enjoy together. Okay, boys and girls, wiggle your ears, put on those time caps, and here we go. Whoosh! Los Angeles, California, 1968. While Hey Jude plays on the radio, America will see its most tumultuous year, and with 78 million of 200 million Americans owning television sets, much of it will unfold right in front of their eyes, with commercials, of course. Many will tune in to see the detectives and officers of Dragnet trying to reassure us that they have everything well under control, while Laugh-In reminds us that it's not true, in fact, far from it, but that it's okay to laugh anyway. Even in space, things aren't going so well, with protests reaching all the way to the Apollo 7 space capsule. It seems bad food, bad helmets, and bad facilities make for a bad moon trip, taking NASA to another all-time low in morale with the first ever space mutiny. In stark contrast, however, Apollo 8 will successfully achieve the first manned orbit of the moon. Barbarella hits theaters, and Jane Fonda shows us more than her political views, eventually switching causes from the Black Panthers and the American Indian movement to protesting the war, later earning her nickname Hanoi Jane. Planet of the Apes, on the other hand, gives us a good look at the human race through the imaginative eyes of Pierre Boulle's novel and Rod Serling's screenplay adaptation. They blew it all to hell indeed. Clad in black leather, Elvis would make a comeback. And while leading the cause, 2 equal rights heroes would be taken from us. The death of Dr. King by the gun of a madman will send the country into such a turmoil that it will cause no less than 110 U.S. cities to fall victim to riots. And although the movement would eventually lead to the ratification of the 14th Amendment, it would not save yet another Kennedy from assassination, this time right here in California. Out of the 58,200 total U.S. deaths in the Vietnam War, 1968 rages on with the beginning of the Tet Offensive and gives us the bloodiest death toll of the war, with 16,899 U.S. soldiers lost that year. And then Nixon was elected. But not all is bad this leap year. Thanks to Phil Jurgensen, the prototype is born. Oh yeah, and I'm born that year too. In August, I joined my brother Robert and our parents Misty and Dale. 2 years later, little sister Brandy comes along and completes the family. We roam around for a while as the young old man gets used to civilian life again, eventually making our way east of LA to the counterculture hippie lifestyle in the Sierra Madre Canyon. The small mountain cabin soon becomes the place to be. People are always stopping by for a good time, and my parents are almost always happy to oblige them, for a price, that is. Many of my first memories are made here. First favorite songs, first happy times, first sad times, my first thoughts about what it is to be me. I love this canyon. It feels like a warm hug on a rainy day. It's a safe, friendly place to live. But things will change. During the early 1970s, my father attends Pasadena City College, seeking a degree in communications. He is also working at the college radio station when the siege at Wounded Knee occurs. Being of native blood himself, he knows he must do something to help the cause. This really was a pivotal time in our family, and it does deserve its own episode. So, for now, let me just say that with a lot of help and twice as much luck, we made it to Wounded Knee, and my father did get in and out. But that was the easy part. The most significant thing to come from this experience begins happening shortly after we return home to the canyon. And once things began to unravel, our lives would never be the same. And eventually, we would have to leave the warm embrace of our loving hippie community and spend most of the next 12 years on the road. For a couple of years, we just bounced around Southern California, waiting for my father to get his Associate of Arts degree, as well as his radio broadcast certification. From Rosarita Beach, Mexico, to Lake Havasu, Arizona, we traveled. Malibu Beach, Ontario, even Lake Elsinore, California briefly, where we attended Machado Avenue Elementary School for our 1975-76 school year. Robert and I played baseball, and we both were in the Scouts for the duration. We even marched in the Bicentennial Parade. But soon, we were back on the road again. Fallbrook, Temecula, back to the reservation, Murietta, even Hollywood, among other places. It was an adventurous road, but it was a road that would eventually lead us back to Elsinore, and the best decade of my life. For me, returning to Elsinore didn't start off so well, but after a while, I would actually start to make friends. I would meet people whose memory would last my lifetime. With my family of friends, I would go places, do things, see things that I never would have thought possible. Searching for myself, I would go from long hair to short hair and back to long, and while I never would really find myself, I would find friends and memories that would always live in my heart. The 80s were, well, the 80s, and like most decades, special unto itself. I can't and won't try to tell anyone that my decade was the best. It was for me, and I will always live there. But just like a rainstorm, it was gone. The 90s were different. Not so different that I went into shock. Well, almost. I kept searching but never did find myself. I watched my family grow and get families of their own. I moved to Arizona and went to school, but the government closed that school down. So I went to another school, but I didn't much like it, so I switched to another school, but didn't really fit in there either. So I returned to California and caught up with some friends in Mammoth. I worked on the mountain and at painting, but once again, I didn't fit in. And, like the blood in my veins, I had to keep moving. By the end of that decade, I had relocated back to Southern California. I got a great new job and a new car. And after years of searching, I finally found that someone who makes me happy. And we get married. We get through some rough spots, but we soon get our wish. Our daughter Natalie is born. We spend several years living and working in northern Nevada, but destiny would lead us back to California. But this story isn't really about the present. It's about the past. Past, 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 past. Sorry. And that was just a small look at my life. Anyway, while I have the opportunity, I would like to thank some people. First of all, thank you to my wife and daughter for their unwavering support. I would like to thank my brother Robert and his wife Michelle for their positivity and their eagerness to jump on board. I want to thank one of my oldest and dearest friends and brothers, Emery, for his humor, his imagination, and his drive behind this project from the start. Last, I would especially like to thank another old and dear friend and Elsinore brother, John, for jumping on board this expedition through the years, and for providing some music for the soundtracks of our lives. One last thing before I go. I want to let you know that I will be holding some live events in which I'll be asking trivia questions about, you got it, Elsinore, Southern California, and the 1970s and 80s. When my subscriber count reaches 100, I will hold the first live event. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I look forward to seeing you in the past. Bye now.